Hi YouTube, this video is going to be about my Lego Star Wars minifigures. This is the collection that I used to own. If you look at the middle cabinet, those were the Lego minifigures. In the cabinet above are my Kenner original Star Wars figures, and in the cabinet below are some Kubrick Star Wars figures. But I don't own those ones in the middle anymore, and there's a funny story behind that because I've got a pet armadillo. So some of you might have seen my videos of my pet armadillo. I'll put a link at the end if you want to have a look at that. But when I was looking to buy an armadillo, I kind of went online. I was trying to find one for actually about 3 years, and I couldn't find an armadillo. And when one came up, I didn't have any money whatsoever, and I asked the guy to put it by until the end of the week. And then I basically just put loads of stuff on eBay to try and sell it to make enough money to buy this pet armadillo. So this Lego figure collection went on eBay and I sold it, and I just needed a little bit more money to get the armadillo, and I had another thing on eBay that was sold right on the last day. And the guy, normally when you buy something on eBay, do buy it now, and normally the person pays you straight away, or used to. And in this case, the person didn't pay straight away, and I had to send him an email saying, could you please pay me because I'm trying to buy an armadillo. It probably sounded really dodgy, but anyway, he paid me right at the last possible second, and I was able to go on the Friday and pick up the armadillo. So clearly I wouldn't be without my armadillo Herbie, but I have been missing my Lego Star Wars minifigures, so I decided to collect them all back again, gradually, and hopefully end up with a collection which is even bigger than this one. So this video is going to be about making a cabinet for the new ones and then putting some of the new ones in it. So I started with this toy chest. This is just a toy chest that I used to have for my kids' toys, but they've got their own storage in their rooms now. So what's nice about this is I've converted it so the front opens as well as the top. It used to be that just the top opened, but it's nice to have this opening front as well. So it's all just plain at the moment. It's a bit rough. I need to tidy it all up, and I'm planning on painting the inside black as well. So the idea here was to have like little shelves that all of the figures could go on. So I've cut out these kind of stepped pieces, and I'm just going to put these into the box now so you can see how this is going to work. So these were pretty easy to cut out, just using a jigsaw and then some sandpaper just to kind of smooth them off a bit. Then I cut these individual strips of wood. These are going to be the individual shelves, and I've cut them to fit in really snugly. I then realised that I needed the top shelf to be wider than all the rest because there are going to be some bigger figures on the top shelf. So I just nudged all of these forward. I'm going to make it as a solid kind of unit to go inside here that can be taken in and out if I need to. So I'll just speed this up so you can see what it ends up looking like with all the shelves on. And the idea is that I'm going to put strips of actual Lego onto each shelf as well. This will all be sprayed black, and there'll be black Lego strips, and then the figures can go onto the studs and fit on nice and snugly. So this is after sticking all of the shelves on with glue and then taking the whole unit out and spraying it with black spray paint. And you can see if you look at this, because this is just like the first coat, it's a bit patchy. You know, there's some bits where the black spray hasn't fully kind of soaked in enough, so I will be spraying this again, but this will give you a rough idea. I sprayed the inside as well, and then I ran out of spray paint, so I've ordered some more spray paint ready to give it another coat. I think it's going to need that, and then the idea is that I'm going to spray the whole of the inside of the box black as well, because I really want the figures to kind of stand out. Okay, another concern that I had is that I've got these handle holes at the side here. And I was a bit concerned because I don't want any kind of insects or anything to get in here, or spiders or anything that can cause cobwebs, and I also don't want any dust to get in. So I've just got this board here, very flat plywood, and I'm just going to cut little rectangles to go over those side holes, and I've got some long strips that I've drawn here as well that I'm going to cut and add on here just to cover the holes completely. Okay, so this is what it looks like after having done that with the strips on. You can see I've just put some neat little screws along there just to add those on, and because the plywood is so thin it doesn't stick out that much. And I think by the time I've sprayed everything black it should look nice and neat. You can see here I've put masking tape all around the top edge here, and I've also put some along the back strip and along this front edge as well. You can see all at the back there, because when I've got the lid lifted up to spray it, the spray is obviously going to get through this little gap here, and I didn't want to spray any of the top of the box black because I want the box on the outside to remain looking wooden. I only want the inside to be black. Okay, another can of spray paint later. This is what it looks like. So it's pretty good. I think it's covered quite nicely, and yeah, nice and black on the inside. Probably this video doesn't do it much justice, but it does look nice and dark, so it's ready for the Lego to be added onto each individual shelf now. And you can see like the door fits nice and snugly, and when the lid is down all of the sort of gaps are closed, so hopefully no dust should get in. There is a bit of patchiness on the top of the lid where I had to sand a couple of marks off, but I'm going to re-wax all of the outside of the box at the end as well, just to make it even nicer. Okay, this is how it's ended up so far, and it is a work in progress, but I've re-waxed the outside of the box and that's looking really nice. And on the inside each shelf has got the strips of black Lego so that the figures can be positioned and fit in snugly. And if you look, I haven't decided exactly where I'm going to put the figures yet. I've just kind of put them in initially like this, and I can just readjust them as I go along. So you can see this time I've ended up buying a Rancor Monster, which I didn't have before. I think it's the biggest kind of Lego Star Wars sort of figure, if you like. Then we've got Jabba the Hutt here, and you can see Princess Leia there with a chain around her neck and a little Salacious, and then you've got this little Rotter the Hutt, which I've put on a little kind of post so he's sticking out. And then we've got Max Rebo here, and I made him like a little piano thing to sit at. And I've also made a little thing for Jabba, so a little pipe for him. And there's a little tiny Lego frog in there as well, which is quite cool. And then we've got like Hoth Wampa holding a bone. So all of the big kind of giant Lego figures, if you like, are at the back, and things that they ride about on, like the Tauntaun and the Kadu there, and then you've got this Dewback as well. So they look really nice along the back shelf. That's why the back shelf had to be wider to be able to get those in. I even had to cut a small section out of one of the shelves to be able to get the Rancor in. And then we've got the figures that I've been able to buy so far. So if you look at this, you've got a Gamorrean Guard there, an original one, and then a slightly more advanced one. You can see the details much better on the second version. So with a lot of these Lego figures, they started off really basic, like there's a Jar Jar Binks here, and you can see his head's really plain, and then the one next to him, it's all, the head's all painted and everything and much more detailed. So they quite often went through this stage where they were really basic to start with. Here's a Sebulba as well, which was just made out of one piece of Lego originally and just plain grey. And you can see there the newer version has got arms and is much more detailed and painted. Same with the Tuscan Raider here. Got a head which just looks like a Lego head with markings on it, and then this completely different moulded head, and it makes such a difference. It makes them really look like the original Kenner Star Wars figures. And we've got a Bosque Bounty Hunter here. I actually prefer the original one of those, but even though there's more detail on the second one, just like the colour scheme of those. They've got Boba Fett, the original version, and a much newer one. There are so many that I would like to buy still to fit in. I've got lots of shelf space left. I think originally I had like 200 figures, and now I think I've got about 100 or something, and I'm just going to keep adding just a few every so often and just try and get all my kind of main favourite ones. There are so many, and I can't kind of expect to buy every single figure, and certainly not every single variant. I mean, there's a couple of Yodas here, look, an original Yoda and a newer one, but there are lots of different Yodas, for example. I don't want to get every single one, just like my favourites really. So yeah, this, you can sort of see the range that I'm getting together here, and quite a few figures from new movies as well. But here are the Ewoks, that you can see how the Ewoks used to be really plain, and then this is a newer version. So that Wicket was completely brown to start with, and then there's the newer one, and these are Pat Blue, again plain, and then the new version. And yeah, they're just really nice. There's a lot of detail on the newer versions. So these figures that you're seeing are from newer movies. Some of these are from the movie Solo, for example. Oh, and also look, there's a Mandalorian with little baby Yoda. If you haven't seen the Mandalorian series, that is superb, and you need to see that. And yeah, little baby Yoda is so cute. You can see how small he was compared to my fingernail. It's absolutely tiny, and it's just really cute that he's got this little carrying pouch, little baby carrier that goes on the front of the Mandalorian. So yeah, and down on the bottom here, I decided to put all of the astromech droids on the front row, and then have other droids behind on the second row. You can see here I haven't got the right legs for that black droid, so I'll have to replace that at some point. And a lot of these droids have got the right shape parts but slightly the wrong colour, so I've got to swap those out at some point as well. Here's Han Solo in Carbonite, the original block version, and then the more advanced version, newer one. Just much more detail on that as well. So you can see what this looks like, and you can see the direction that I'm heading in. I just need to keep adding more to it. I may even add extra shells onto the door at the front as well, and then I can add quite a few more figures on there. Okay, I hope you've enjoyed this video. I've enjoyed making the cabinet. I know, like, I'm a bloke in my 40s and I'm collecting little Lego minifigures, which is probably a bit of a worry. But I just love how cool they look together and how brightly coloured they are. And each one, although they're tiny, they all seem to have their own little personalities. And they also just remind me a lot of the Kenner Star Wars figures that I used to collect. Which I had as a kid. I had most of them as a kid, but I needed to collect back a few more to kind of complete the whole set. So it reminds me of that sort of period in my life as well. So yeah, it's given me a lot of enjoyment. Check out as well, I'll put a link at the end of my armadillo so you can see what he's like, because he's so cool. And check out my other videos of 80s toys that I've collected back as well, because if you were a kid in the 80s as well, there's bound to be so much that you probably owned as well as me, and yeah, you'll get a good sort of nostalgic hit from those. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.